Ecosystems and populations change over time.
Ecosystems change over time. Ecosystems, all the interacting living and non-living things in a physical area, can change over a much shorter period of time than biosphere changes. The time periods of change range from years, due to a fire, to millions of years, due to extinctions. Ecological succession is a series of changes that occur in a community over time. Communities change the ecosystem, making it more hospitable to new, colonizing species. As species replace each other over time, the ecosystem structure changes.
These photographs were taken over 20 years. Bare soil was colonized first by small plants, then shrubs, and finally trees.
Ecosystems change over time. As the plant community changes, there are also changes in the bacteria, fungi, and animals that depend on them. At each stage of succession, the organisms interact with one another and change the ecosystem. One clear example of this are the types of birds that are present depending on the stage of succession the ecosystem is in. Disturbances change ecosystems. Ecosystems may be changed by disturbances such as storms, fires, invasions of new species, and human activities. Part of this veldt ecosystem in South Africa has been burned by a wildfire. Succession will occur, small plants and then trees. As the plants change, so will the organisms that eat them. Over time, the ecosystem can be restored, but not always. Populations change over time. A population of pepper moths lives in a forest of trees with gray trunks. They come in two colors, white, peppered with black spots, so they look gray and black. At first, birds eat far more black moths than gray moths because the gray moths blend in with the lichen on the trees. The population of moths are mostly gray. The ecosystem changes. New factories produce lots of black smoke that changes the tree trunks from gray to black, camouflaging the black moths and exposing the gray moths. Adaptation. The birds now ate more gray moths than black moths. The black moths were able to reproduce more than the gray moths. The graph shows how the population of the black moths exceeded that of the gray moths in about 5 years. The action of the predatory birds responding to the environmental change led to a rapidly changing population. Populations change over time. Mutations in a population lead to variability. In this case, it led to there being two types of moths, as the black moths had one mutated gene that led to their color. If the mutation for black moths was not present, the moth population would have died out when the tree colors changed due to the impact of humans. But when the tree colors changed, the black moth mutation proved advantageous, and more black moths survived and reproduced than gray moths.
A similar situation plays out with rock pocket mice. They live on sandstone, which has a golden brown color, or on lava rock, which is gray and black. The species has two fur colors, golden brown and dark gray. They are food for predatory owls. Based on these photographs, explain why the fur colors of rock pocket mice are great examples of adaptations. Which mice in the pictures below would be eaten by owls? Which mice would pass on their genes to offspring? People take antibiotic drugs to kill bacteria that cause dangerous infections. Every population of bacteria is varied. When exposed to antibiotics, some cells die right away, while others will take longer, and some may actually be unaffected by the antibiotic. They will multiply, and soon the antibiotic will be useless. Taking the antibiotic as directed for the full term, the resistant strain of bacteria will have less of a chance of surviving. If the medicine is stopped when the patient feels better, these bacteria will survive to reproduce and their population will increase. In some cases, the antibiotic won't work at all on some strains, and you hope they die out before they can change the population. Populations change over time in response to changes in environmental conditions. Individuals cannot adapt, but populations can. The colors of individual moths did not change, but the moths with the preferred color reproduced and passed that trait to their offspring. Over time, helpful traits become more common. Those that are harmful become less common.